Rafael, welcome to the podcast, man.
Thank you for having me. How are you?
Good, man. How are you?
Doing pretty good. I had a 1 day fast yesterday, and this morning my mom gave me some ribs. I ate two. I should maybe have gone with one. Bad idea, man. Right now I'm like, oh, I feel weird, but I want to do this conversation with you. So we're going through it. So I'll be sucking on my orange while we talk for energy. I got my water. Got my water ready to go. So let's bring it, bro. What's up? Let's talk Monero.
I'd like to say it's a mistake you only make once, but I've made the mistake many times, so I forgive you there. So I've got a philosophical question first up.
Sure.
Answered in a funny way, answered in a serious way, it doesn't really matter. But to you, what's the meaning of life?
Seeking happiness. Seeking happiness. That's what that's it's not just me, but it's like what all philosophy they've always aimed for is like how do you live the happy life? How do you what is if that's the goal, right? For everyone to whether it be real happiness or the semblance of happiness, how do you get there, So yeah, I think the meaning of life is to seek happiness, and the means to get it is progress. You really have to embrace progress, and I take happiness to be that of progress. So every day that I make progress, it's a day that I'm happy.
So, speaking of progress, what's stopping progress? What's the problems in society that you see?
mm, right now at this moment is bad information. We live in the information age, and I think with crypto we have the ability to cut out the bullshit noise and focus on honest signals. And I think that Satoshi actually gave us the tools to focus on honest signals, because there's just so much noise, and everyone talks about how the internet's so great, but the internet is also a double-edged sword where these big tech giants, they want to make you into a dopamine zombie. And so the goal is for us to figure out how to cut the noise and get to the signal. In other words, the social media platforms that I envision, once we figure that out, and I think we have already. If you want to talk about it, we can talk about it. Um, the social media platforms of the future are going to be really quiet. Only smart people will speak, and we will listen. BS, manipulation, marketing goes out the window. So I think that's like where we're going. Big tech does not want that. They hate that. They hate those properties of crypto the most, more than privacy, actually, for my research. That's what they hate the most, is the ability for us to escape their manipulation of big data.
So, you raised a lot of good points, but where does Monero fit into all of that, or even crypto more generally? What problems does it solve?
So Monero is a tool that allows us to interact with each other freely. Monero is the hallmark of cryptocurrency proper, where we, as human beings, now have a means to exit any situation that may be hurtful. So Monero is the shield that we need. Privacy coins are the shield that we need. The question is, what's the sword, right? Arguably, Monero also works as a sword because it creates, the cliche of an alternative system. But overall, crypto, your question was crypto. How does crypto fit in all of this? I think that it's important for us to not think like cavemen that just discovered a new asset class. That's really what people are, how they act in crypto, which is like, well, privacy coins that's the only thing, and some other guys like, no, 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 the smart contract platforms are the only thing. No, dude, they're all different tools, and so we need to take a more mature stance, step back, and say, okay, there are privacy tools, there are honesty blockchains that serve certain purposes, Like I wouldn't want the government using Monero or Pirate Chain. That would be fucked up. They can get away with a lot of shit, right? That's what they're known for, right? Is getting away literally with murder and theft and all sorts of crimes. So if they're taxing us, we want to be able to keep track of what they do with that money. So arguably an honesty chain would be what I would want them to be using, something that's transparent, something that we can keep tabs on everything that they do with that money that they take from us, right? So, like I said, there's just different tools, and we need to figure out in our personal lives what tools we need. And that's like the job of the crypto vigilante for its subscribers. It's like, okay, privacy tools arguably are the most important because we live in a tyrannical environment nowadays with big tech and these governments out of control. So you should have some, at least, knowledge of privacy coins like Monero in your arsenal. But when it comes down to your lived experience, what is it that you need as a person? And now that's a question that everyone needs to ask for themselves. So imagine someone that lives in a very beautiful place where the government's awesome. They're not stealing your money under the pretense of taxation. Imagine you living in a place where the government, is respectful and people are respectful. You don't really need a Monero in that environment, right? But come on, a 1930s, 1940s Soviet Union, you want to get out. So then Monero, something like Monero makes a lot of sense, right? Everyone's different, and I think we're all going to change as in our personal lives, in our personalization of how we embrace crypto in our personal lives. But I think privacy will always be something that every human person will need no matter what.
So just to expand on a couple of things there, you said about having the the swamp creatures in government using a transparent chain and having privacy as a tool for the everyday person. But do you think, say, something like the view keys can solve that problem? So the government could even use Monero as well, but you have the view keys to justify it to the public.
I don't trust them with anything
You don't have to trust them
private.
with anything.
I don't trust them. No, I mean, okay. So yeah, great, sure. But what if they don't want to use a view key? How would you keep a record or an account of what they're doing? Do you really trust these people to show you everything if they're using Monero or a privacy coin? Hell
No,
no.
of course not, but
No,
I
so
wouldn't.
so if they're gonna take my money through taxation, I don't want them to have the luxury of having optional disclosure with a view key. Hell no. You work for me. You work for the people. You better have private transparency. I need to know where the fuck you're putting that money at all times. I'm not gonna wait or expect or trust a bureaucrat with being honest. That's ridiculous, man. I'm not. No, 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 no.
Of
Privacy
course.
for the private person, for the public space, right? The public world. There are use cases for transparency. So if you're part of the privacy coin community, like Monero, it's very important to also realize that yes, we love privacy. Yes, but look, dude, I see you on Twitter all the time. I use Twitter all the time. You're putting yourself out in the world. Twitter in itself is a platform that we use. We find value in, but it's not private by default. So there's a use case right there. So it's almost like for the public space, right? There are use cases for transparency, what I would call honesty networks, especially when dealing with government. I don't trust government with something like Pirate Chain. Imagine them having the ability that for every transaction have 1.5 billion decoys. Fuck that. That's ridiculous. No, I want them using something transparent. So no, for the private individual, definitely privacy, but for the public space, there's use cases for transparency.
Sure, man. So you touched on the subject of Pirate Chain pretty briefly. I know you're an advocate for Pirate Chain as well. I've heard you speak about it on multiple occasions. But it begs a bigger question from me. What value do you think smart contracts bring? What use cases can they be applied in?
Oh, for Pirate Chain or Darrow?
For
Because
both, just smart contracts in general.
okay, so there are people using zero knowledge proofs to create smart contracts. Like that is happening in crypto. Um, so what the question is, what use cases do I see for smart contracts? Any other type of human interaction, because we've always said that the first use case, the first application of the Bitcoin protocol is money. Monero came in out of Bitcoiners that realized this was never going to be fungible. Bitcoin will never be the idea that we have of it being private by default and cryptocurrency proper. So what we're going to do is we're going to start from scratch and create Monero. Okay, Monero is the perfection of the money aspect of Bitcoin, of what Satoshi gave us. But there are other use cases. Again, very important use cases in literally everything else in the internet. And for everything else in the internet, you need to have a way to interact. Because okay, look, this is really where the game changer is. The word smart contract is really like it's something as a buzzword that people kind of just threw out there, but in reality, it's like, how do you the real term that we use as in old school Bitcoin is a compute script. How do you compute the script, right? Because the way the what Bitcoin and crypto essentially is the giving of the world of triple entry accounting. So the reality here is that we've been giving the gift of triple entry accounting that is shared on all of the computers within a given ledger at the same time and is synchronized every X amount of time, minutes, seconds. The thing is that there are other reasons to use uh, to compute forms of transactions. You definitely can, and we should embrace the computational aspect of what this third entry, which is the cryptographic receipt, what this third entry in triple entry accounting affords us. We should seek as entrepreneurs to take that to its ultimate limit in all forms. So uh, when you talk about smart contracts, that's the application of triple entry accounting to everything. Most importantly, information. Because right now, everybody in crypto tends to talk about the Fed, fiat, and we have to fix money. But that's a very naive perspective because we all know that every banking institution and financial institution of the present moment is really a fintech company. People worry about CBDCs, but they forget or they just don't know that over 90%, 94% of all dollars are digital already. So the issue is not a problem with centrally controlled fiat. We already have that. The problem is information and the fact that these assholes want to control everything. So you have two options. You have the options to hide, which is to use privacy coins and exit their system completely. But obviously, that doesn't really work because even people in the Monero community, I see them on YouTube, right? Like myself, like Monero Talk, because it's valuable to communicate. If anything, information is what money is the spread of information, right? We see us on Twitter, Facebook, so people are still using transparency. There's value there. The question is, how do you create a system where you can gather all the goodness that transparency gives you, because obviously we find value in it. Like this is going to go on YouTube, right? Without giving up our information to a tyrannical big tech cartel. That's the real question. And the answer to that is found in Bitcoin itself and what Satoshi gave us. He not only gave us a technology, but also an economic system that allows us to ever grow in awareness of what's most valuable to Bitcoin itself, number one. And number two, that it allows us to categorize what's important to us according to proof of work. And number 3, you own your data. And so the real issue here that a lot of people in Monero don't realize, and they don't just talk about because they focused on one aspect of the Bitcoin civil war, is because people in Monero come from the BTC branch of the Bitcoin civil war. The Monero culture itself, aside from Arctic Mine, come from the small blocker camp of the Bitcoin civil war. So the small blockers said Bitcoin is money, digital gold. It's the most important thing, and we need to have it perfect. And the Monero community grew out of that initiative and that desire and took it to its logical conclusion and said, well, it can't happen on Bitcoin. We need to start from scratch. Fair enough. But you can't forget that Satoshi gave us other things that small blockers took out, like the ability to compute script on chain. That's what the big blockers, and I come from the big blocker world, that's our emphasis, which is not just, it's an emphasis that says, yes, money is a property of Bitcoin. Granted, Satoshi did not give us like the money ideal of what Monero enthusiasts want, but Satoshi also gave us all of these opcodes that were taken out by small blockers. And Satoshi also gave us the ability to compute on script that Bitcoin in itself is a Turing-complete machine. So it's very important Monero people are very logically consistent. So it's very important for them to ask themselves this question. Raf agrees with you, Monero. Monero is everything BTC desires to be. I'd add that Monero is everything BTC desired to turn Bitcoin into, right? But if you read the white paper, you'll notice it's just 9 pages. But if you actually look at the code and you see all this, you see the code itself, and you see the ability, just the script itself, Bitcoin script, which is it's the computational language that Satoshi gave us, for example. It's a Bitcoin virtual machine. Bitcoin script is like equivalent to the Ethereum virtual machine. Then what the fuck did Satoshi give us? And what I read in what Satoshi gave us is something bigger. It's not just money. The Monero community took care of that. Perfect money is found in Monero. But what did it give us? It must have given us, for some reason, all of that was there. That was disregarded by the vast majority of people. And my answer to that is Satoshi foresaw a future where we needed to tackle the problem of big tech monopolizing our information and using it against us. So it's a way for us to scale in parallel, just like Facebook, Google, and Amazon does, with Bitcoin miners to grow an on-chain economy that rivals big tech. So that's something that I fight for to this day. I agree with the Monero community completely. I think that they're completely right in saying that Monero is everything that BTC desires to be, because indeed it is. But then what is Bitcoin? I mean, was Satoshi just an idiot that just didn't do things right? Or was there something else that he wanted to create, and us libertarians misunderstood that? Furthermore, could it be that actors, you call it a deep state, whatever, took advantage of our libertarian desires to rob us of something beautiful within Bitcoin itself? Its computational power? I think so. I mean, I don't know. You figure it out.
So you said it well. What is Bitcoin? What does Bitcoin desire to be? So what do you think the flaws in Bitcoin are?
When you talk to me about Bitcoin, you're talking to a big blocker. Excuse me, my mouth is full. So what do you mean when you say the word Bitcoin? What do you mean?
Bitcoin as it
What do you
currently
mean by
stands.
Bitcoin?
Bitcoin as it currently stands.
You're talking about BTC Bitcoin.
Of course. Yeah, BTC.
Okay, so you're talking about, see, to me, I know this is controversial to some people, but to me, that's not Bitcoin.
Very controversial.
That's not the Bitcoin I fell in love with.
Of course.
To me, that's a psyop that tried to take Bitcoin and to turn it into Monero, and all of us logically consistent Bitcoiners knew that that was never going to happen. So from the get-go, that was just a dead end. And if you really had that ambition of creating sound digital gold and digital cash, you needed to be fungible by default. And that's why all of us Bitcoiners that said, okay, the logical conclusion then is Monero. And that's why we're in Monero, right? So BTC to me is a monstrosity. It really is. BTC depends on kissing ass to big tech and Wall Street and Silicon Valley. It can't exist without it actually anymore, without kissing their ass. I snuck into Lightning developer conferences where they actually teach each other how to kiss ass and ask VCs for money. It's fucking crazy. That to me as a Bitcoiner makes no fucking sense, because the way I build on Bitcoin, I build on chain. I don't need any VC money. VC money actually is like, Bitcoin was created to destroy Silicon Valley from a big blocker perspective, because I don't need a backend. Bitcoin is my backend. And when I build on-chain interoperably and open source, we're all building for Bitcoin. We all work for Bitcoin. So even the notion of my corporation, my company, my startup goes out the fucking window when you build as a big blocker on Bitcoin. For me, I build as a big blocker on BSV, and it's like, Bitcoin will outlive any company I create. So I better think and realize that the company that I really work for is called Bitcoin in its original design. So I need to build some things that are open source, interoperable, and on chain, so that another entrepreneur can come and build on top of what I produce even better. So it compounds. And if so, I want somebody else that's better than me, a better builder, to come in and build on top of the open source tools that I build on chain to build better. Why do I want that? That's my severance pay. Then I'm out of the game of building, and I'm just holding and watching better people build. So this idea of building an on-chain economy was robbed from the crypto world. And I would say they did it on purpose, because this is what scares the fucking establishment the most. Every single problem that you see in crypto comes from the warped mindset that they infused in people of building off-chain, building layered networks. It's corrupt. And what ends up happening is that you start creating a culture where you buy crypto, talk about crypto, but never use crypto. And then you get shit like FTX and then or Binance, and then they create like a half-ass version of a fucking network like FTT or BNB, and it doesn't even fucking work. We all know that even Ethereum was a fucking psyop paid for by JP Morgan. When I was around in the BitAngels network helping early entrepreneurs, teaching them how to present to investors, so I was around this whole bullshit of Ethereum from the beginning. And as a big blocker, I was like, what the fuck are you guys doing? Don't you realize that we can do all of this on the Bitcoin blockchain? Oh, no. You can't do that on Bitcoin, is what they started saying. Later on, we realized that there was a fucking Fed email leaked between a Fed by the name of John Dillion and Peter Todd. And there's money moved between the FBI wallet that was taken from Ross Ulbricht to Greg Maxwell, all these Bitcoin core devs. And these motherfuckers talk a lot about decentralization. But the truth, man, the truth is that decentralization can never exist within a protocol that is not fixed, number one, in store. And as long as there is a central group of developers controlling the protocol, you can't really say it's decentralized. The genius of Satoshi is that he gave us a market-driven system so that we can compete with each other in real time, and for it to be, for us to mirror the game theory of miners themselves, but as entrepreneurs on chain. So sorry for digressing there, but that's the world I come from, right? As a Bitcoiner, right? So the fucking interesting thing is that as a big blocker, I agree completely with the Monero community because we follow the same tree of logic. See, BTC has no logic. BTC is Bitcoin is this. We Bitcoin core devs know better than Satoshi, and we're gonna take away all of this fucking beautiful stuff that Satoshi gave us, like the Bitcoin virtual machine, Bitcoin script. Tell people to go build on Ethereum when they could have built the whole fucking infrastructure here. Lie to them. Tell them we're going to deliver side chains and really deliver something that just caters to exchanges called Liquid. That is just a proof of stake system for financial institutions to vote with. There's a lot of corruption. So BTC is a giant Rube Goldberg machine that I call it a zombie whore of institutional fiat, and it's the zombie whore that's just walking around getting fed off from fiat. It just lives off fiat. And notice that the only use case and utility that BTC maximalists find in Bitcoin, in their version of Bitcoin, is its value in terms of fiat. That's the only utility. Dude, I am building things on chain using Bitcoin's original design that will blow your fucking mind, dude. Like, it will blow your fucking mind. But guess what? It just so turns out that those that follow the original design is also the community that is most delisted and hated in all of crypto, BSV. Yeah, I'm an anarchist, bro. I'm going to look where you tell me not to look. And if you fight me for it, I'm going to look even some more. And I found some fucking gems. But this is the thing, man. If you if you're logically consistent, and if you really fucking wanted what BTC champions, then you should be all in on Monero. Like, Daniel Kim is right. Everything Monero, everything BTC desires to be is in Monero. Monero is the real small blocker Bitcoin. That's the truth. And so I'm all for that worldview. I'm all for that vision, but please be logically consistent and leave Bitcoin to Bitcoiners that want to deal with Bitcoin as Satoshi gave it to us. Guys like me. But don't lie to people, because a lot of BTC maximalists live off lies nowadays. And a cathedral of mantras that are nothing but lies, that are dangerous lies. They tell people that Bitcoin is fungible. No, it's not. The closest thing to fungibility is Whirlpool being used by Samurai, being used by Sparrow Wallet, being used by Ronin Dojo that has Samurai built within it and Sparrow. That's it. There's nothing else. There's no other entrepreneurs on BTC actually trying to fight for actual utility on chain, because we're talking about utility on chain is really what matters. Is really where value is derived from. Is to have utility. So you're selling me something that you can't give me. Monero gives me utility. Monero gives me digital gold and digital cash because it is fungible. So the value of BTC right now, according to these KYC-AML exchanges, makes no sense to me. I don't pay attention to them. I want them to delist Monero. I know this might sound like a mindfuck to your listeners. I want them to delist Monero. I don't trust none of those fucking exchanges. Even Kraken. I don't fucking trust Kraken. I don't. I know even my business partners will be like, Raph, but Kraken's cool because, they have Monero. Fuck them. No. That's us being fucking lazy. The moment you start asking for permission, they fuck you over. Dude, the best thing that can happen to Monero is that they delist Monero, because a lot of these exchanges, you think FTX was the last one? I don't think so, dude. I think they're all fucking crooked. You know why they're all crooked? It's the same thing I mentioned a little bit earlier. Is they all talk about and sell you the technology, but none of them fucking use it. The only KYC-AML exchange I will ever use in my life is the one that is built on chain, and it has to be built on a transparent, honest chain. Because if you can't prove reserves every block of time, I don't want to do business with you. The fuck is these people with FTX and Binance doing things off chain? That's nothing more than the Wall Streetization of crypto. It's just bringing banking antics and using crypto as a new, uh, investment vehicle for them to play with. This is not something for you to fucking just speculate. I don't consider you, honestly, that a whole culture of hodl. I don't consider that. I don't consider those people Bitcoiners. I don't. Like a Bitcoiner is someone who actually uses the damn thing. So yeah, it was very corrupt and fucked up what happened in crypto history. And on two ends of what happened, you have two logical they come out from the tree of Bitcoin, two logical ends. And one is Monero and the other one is BSV. BSV says, look, man, Bitcoin is transparent and you'd be stupid to not comply with the law. And yes, we fucking law, patents bullshit, blah, blah, blah. Because it'd be fucking stupid to live in a world in a transparent blockchain where you pretend to be cypherpunk like BTC, where you pretend to be gangster and private when you're not. What's more dangerous, man, and what's more fucked up? A guy that tells you, hey, man, use this right here. It's not going to hurt you, but it has everything built within it to fucking hurt you. Or the guy that tells you, hey, man, use this right here. But look, man, we're complying with the law and everything because you'd be stupid not to because, the whole constitutive makeup of this is transparent, man. So like in blockchain analytics is hiring people left and right and they're just getting more funding. So you'd be stupid to treat a public ledger like BTC or BSV as a privacy coin. So I find the BTC community very disingenuous. I have no respect for them whatsoever. None of them. None of their proponents I respect at all anymore. I think they're actually bad people. And when I interviewed Arctic Mine, I think he's 100% right. He said, they're actually worse than banksters. I'm quoting him. It's on YouTube when I interviewed him on Monerotopia. They're worse than banksters because they pretend to be cypherpunks. The honest Bitcoin small blocker is a Monero extremist. And that's why I only really care for Monero extremists because anybody that wants to sell me BTC, my question is, okay, then let's talk about Monero, right? It's a logical conclusion of what they're trying to sell me. So if you're still trying to push this shit, you're wasting my time, dude. And you're lying to people and you're hurting people. El Salvador, man, we can talk about it if you want about that, man. What a fucking mess, dude.
Bro, I'm right here at the moment, as you can see probably in the newspaper from the background. But we're pretty much running out of time now. We're hitting that limit. So, man, I really appreciate you coming on. You've obviously shared a lot of good knowledge. I love when you speak about passion. That's why I think I watch you. That's all I can say. I think that's why people watch you. So I really appreciate you coming on, man. There's a lot more things I wanted to get through. So we'll definitely have to have you back on in the future. But thanks so much.
Hey, my pleasure. Anytime.